Our market monitor says individual stock selection is a much more significant factor in portfolio performance this year than it was in 2013, when virtually every stock in the S&P 500 and the Dow went up. He's Jordan Posner. He's Senior Portfolio Manager with Matrix Asset Advisors. Welcome, Jordan. Nice to have you here.
Nice to see you, Sue.
So what type of stocks do you find still have value? We talked earlier to Russ Kosterich, and he said they're favoring the larger cap stocks. Does that fit in with your portfolio selection?
Well, we're a large cap stock manager, so we're always looking for stocks within the large cap sector. What's interesting is that what we're finding most attractive are stocks in the financials, the industrials, and the energy sectors. And that's because we're expecting that the general economic activity in the U.S. and actually worldwide will improve throughout the year. And these three sectors should have pretty good participation in that recovery. And the stocks we think in those sectors are pretty cheap.
You know, Jordan, it's been a kind of choppy first quarter of the year, which ends on Monday. Is that the kind of performance, a little higher volatility than we'd been accustomed to, that you expect for the remainder of the year?
Well, we would expect that for the year, you'll probably see something in terms of total return, dividends plus appreciation, in the range of 8 to 10%, which is a kind of a normal historical range. But we do think that there'll be volatility throughout the year, and we would expect there to be some type of correction, perhaps as much of a 10% correction at some point during the course of the year, and that's typically generated by some kind of unforeseen macro event. We would prefer to use the dips down, the downward volatility, as an opportunity to buy stocks that we think are attractive and wouldn't necessarily chase rallies to increase in asset allocation.
Let's go through some of the stocks that you do find attractive at this point. In the healthcare sector, HOLOGIC, why?
We're looking at companies that have the ability to improve their business internally, not just sell more widgets, as it were. HOLOGIC has had some turnover. There's a new CEO, very well reputed. He's brought in some excellent operators. The businesses are real franchises. They're the leader in mammography for women. It's a terrific business, throws off a lot of cash. And the company is really working to restructure itself during the course of the year. We would expect that 2014 will be an ebb in earnings, and when we look into 15, the stock is trading at around 13 times, and we think that our estimate of the intrinsic value of the company is probably something close to 30.
Your second choice is Occidental Petroleum. It's about $94 right now. You see it getting to 121. How's it going to get there?
Well, we think that'll take maybe some time, probably over the course of a couple of years. But as the result of some management turmoil, actually a fight in the upper realms of management, the CEO, who's continued to be there, Mr. Chazen, has gone after a separation of the company, selling some assets, unlocking some of the value. And when you look at the sum of the value of the parts, that's closer to $120 a share. You'll start to see actions taking place in the second half of 14 and into 15, and which will unlock that value and make it become much more visible.
And let's finish up with DEVON Energy, which, you know, the stock has had a little bit of tough sledding, but you think that management is making some rather aggressive moves to right that ship and make some changes.
Absolutely. The company has historically been perceived as very oriented towards natural gas, which has been a difficult area. They've been reinvesting very heavily, getting rid of assets and reinvesting in more oily assets, as it were. These assets have much higher valuations, generate more cash, and they've done a very good job in terms of refreshing and upgrading the asset base, and that really has not been reflected in the stock.
All right. Of the stocks that we mentioned, do you have any disclosures to tell us?
We own all three of these stocks for our clients, and my family and I own them ourselves.
All right. Jordan, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Good to see you again.
Pleasure.
Jordan Posner.